Welcome back to this week's episode of Whoscussion. Again, for part B, we're going to be covering Eyes of the Master, and then Red Dawn. Eyes of the Master, the late Crow, take us away.
Okay, so we open with the 8th Doctor. He's still a prisoner, which was how he was. Oh, that was at the end of Times or Horizon, wasn't it? He was a prisoner at the end of that one?
Not Times Horizon, the other one.
The other one,
the
traitor, the first story.
Yeah, that's right.
I love how Big Finish are like, let's just time jump everywhere. So he's a prisoner at the end of that. Yeah,
that's right. Cool. So the Dalek time controller comes to visit him, and is all like, "Yo, you helped us. Why'd you do that? I mean, I appreciate it, but why?" And the Doctor's like, "Yo, so there's this thing called the Eminence," and the Dalek time controller's like, "Tell me more about the Eminence."
This sounds awesome.
Yeah. And it sounded so awesome that I kind of had to stop working and almost do a tap dance because I'm just like, oh yes. Then we jump back, and so the Doctor's previous or earlier version of the Doctor's hanging out with Liv and Molly, and they drop into the 70s, and they're having a look about because seeing as time shifted after Cotris was erased. So it's like, let's.
Can you say Cotris again? Because you sound just like the time controller. That was awesome.
Right, so Cotris doesn't exist anymore, so I want to see what the IDE Institute is up to. I'm just going to go check that out. And so they drop in the 70s, and the Doctor's all like, oh wait, we're in the 70s. I have a badass car. I'm going to go fetch that thing. And it's wonderful. And so he goes off to fetch his car, and Molly and Liv wander about. Molly, knowing London's sort of kind of ish, knowing the basic layout, I guess, because she knows.
It actually hasn't changed in the past 100 years.
No, I haven't.
Really?
Yeah, Westminster is exactly the same as it was 100 years ago.
Sorry, that just real meta in my brain because I live on a street called Westminster Road. So.
What? Okay, that's too meta. That's actually too meta.
Yeah. Anyway, so Molly, so the Doctor comes back, picks him up in a beautifully sounding purple beetle, as it's described, with a really obnoxiously loud horn, which is amazing. And so they're driving about, and Molly's all like, "Oh, Baker Street. I want to go check on your house, Doctor. I want to go check on that." And then the Doctor's all like, "Okay, did you leave the stove on or something?" "Yes, something like that. I'll catch up with you later." So Molly goes off and finds, was it David?
David.
Who was the fella from the White Room that she lent the keys to, and he's still there. He's blind now, and he's got a housewife person that helps look after him, Mrs. Gantry, played by Jacqueline King, so that's cool.
Jacqueline King is in everything Big Finish does. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Just Big Finish know how to get actors that are good. It's like they watch New Who and go, oh, they mistreated that actor. We'll give them a good role, it's fine. That's actually what they do.
Yeah.
So Molly comes in and checks on him, and then kind of realizes after introducing himself, like, oh, he probably... I shouldn't be in this time. I'm the daughter of Molly II. And David's like, okay, I'll play along with you for now. And so they have a bit of a chinwag, and turns out that Mrs. Gantry and David have been given these invitations to this optician from Mr. Harcourt Diaz, which Molly just totally, in case any audience members were already a bit on the fence about, Molly just straight out goes, "Gonna go visit this Dr. Death then, are we?" Just very on the nose about it, straight away. Good old Molly. She's like, well, it couldn't hurt, it couldn't get any worse. I want to go and walk about. And so they go for a walk off to the place, and she's like, I've got a doctor friend down there. We could have a visit of him as well.
I love how infectious Molly O'Sullivan's voice is.
Yes. The Irish accent is beautiful. I love the. I want to move to Ireland long enough to pick up the accent. I'm going to do that. Meanwhile, Doctor and Liv have gone to check out the institute, and they find a freezer, and that's very well and good. And the Doctor gets locked in because Dr. Sally Armstrong, who's now working for Harcourt Diaz, aka the Master, comes along.
In case you're wondering.
Yeah.
In case it wasn't blatantly obvious at this point. So Sally Armstrong collects Liv and locks the Doctor in because the Master just told her, fetch the girl that's with the Doctor, but didn't specify which one. So they grab Liv, and Liv is taken to the Master, and the Master, oh no, you grabbed the wrong one, Dr. Armstrong. Armstrong's like, you didn't tell me. Okay. And so she's like, okay, I'll go and fetch. And then they look on the cameras, not the cameras. Okay, let's explain the thing. So, because the master running an optician place, he's basically been putting synthetic eyes into all of his patients that he can kind of monitor things through, and so his eyes throughout the town, I guess. And so he goes, "Oh look, the doctor and the one you want are actually coming. Oh no, the one you want's actually on his way, so that's cool." And so, "Oh, that's awfully convenient." But then, just to be inconvenient, Molly's like, "You know what? I want to go and check on the doctor because I've seen his car here." So they find the doctor in the freezer, and just to show how good Big Finish are with their editing of sound, because I actually listened to Eyes of the Master twice, because the doctor pops out the freezer and goes, "Thank God the Sonic works." I only picked up the sound of the Sonic working inside the freezer on the second listen. It's like, oh damn, it's very quiet and subtle, and
that's incredible.
You can actually hear the Sonic device ever so slightly working from inside the freezer, and it's like, oh damn, that's good. So the doctor's out of the freezer, and Molly's kind of a bit like, "Oh, what are you doing in the freezer?" Okay, and doctor's like, "Right, you take Mr. Because David's visited Harcourt Dieth, or the Master. So Harcourt Dieth is such a good name, which the doctor kind of points out later. Just like, you really get, Alice is getting very on the nose, Master. You need to calm down. Your ego's showing." So he's given David synthetic eyes, and the doctor's like, "Right, you take David back to the house. I'm going to go visit this Dieth." And so he does that, and he just bursts in. And I love how very wink wink the Master and the Doctor get in this exchange. Like, "Oh, I thought you'd be the man with the umbrella."
Yeah, I thought you were going to be the annoying short man with the umbrella. That's the one I wanted to talk to. And he's like, "Well, I see you don't have beard or hair for that matter."
Yeah. Like, yeah. And they're all like,
I really wish he had just said, "No, you didn't want to meet the one with the umbrella."
He would have ruined your day a lot more than I go.
Yeah. You really did not want to meet that one.
Trust me, not even I want to meet that one.
That's actually what. So the whole deal is, so the thing is that the Eminence is kind of being controlled, well, sort of kept under wraps within the Master's TARDIS, and he's kind of, because he's worked out that some humans have some sort of imperviousness slightly to the Eminence. So turns out that CIA, or the Celestial Intervention Agency, have hired the Master to kind of work out how to control the Eminence, because they project that the Eminence will outlive everything. So like, right, it'd be great if we could control this. And the Doctor's like, oh, really? Damn. Okay.
I feel like a war involving time or something might be coming.
Yeah.
If this is a weapon, would be awesome.
Yeah.
I love how he even says that. He's just like,
Yeah.
They're trying to make a war happen. I don't fight wars across time and space. And the Master's like, lol, 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 lol.
That is actually the exchange.
Yeah.
I love how very snide they get. Just like, the tunnels once hired someone to go and stop the Daleks existing, but here's someone to know the stomach for that. It's great. And the Doctor's like, right, I'm going to have to
I would have sorted that right out.
Yeah.
And then the Doctor's like, right, I'm going to have to stop you now. And the Master's like, oh, by the way, I've got live, and if you don't do as I say, you may not live for much longer. And it was great.
I can just see him like trying. For some reason, I see this Master as like trying to be wittier, like his previous incarnation.
Yeah.
And him failing in doing so. Like him trying to wink. Him trying to wink at the Doctor is him like trying to force one eye to blink, but he's doing both. And like half like doing it, like trying to like turn to the side so he only sees one. He's actually like closing both of his eyes, and the Doctor's just like, what? What are you doing?
Yeah. And so it's been established throughout the story that whenever the Eminence, or people kind of with the synthetic eyes and stuff which are connected to the Eminence, whenever they get close to someone who has had direct contact with retrogenerative particles which have been repurposed now that Kotris doesn't exist anymore, and that whole debacle didn't technically happen. So basically, if a synthetic eyes person gets near Molly or the Doctor, or even Liv, because she's kind of been partially exposed thanks to her travels with the other two, the Eminence gets real antsy and not a fun person or fun entity to be around. So now that David and Mrs. Gantry are in the house with Molly, they just kind of, they get very possessy by the Eminence and start causing trouble.
And they're like, we don't want to work for the Master? That guy's an idiot.
Pretty much. And Molly's like, oh, that's not good. I'm locked in here and I got a rolling pin. I'm not prepared to use it. And then the Doctor's like, okay. So, Master, you've got a pretty good sort of operation going here, but I'm about to ruin your day. And the Master's like, oh, my dear Doctor, how are you going to do that? And the Doctor's like, I've actually got the Eminence inside my brain, in my Time Lord brain. And the Master's like, oh, shit. Damn it, okay. Thanks, Doctor, for ruining my entire operation.
It was like, come again?
And so just like, I've got the eminence in your TARDIS that you'll keep under control. I'm going to let my version of the eminence connected to your eminence learn all about how to control the TARDIS. And the Master's like, no, don't do that. And the Doctor does it, and the eminence totally takes control of the Master's TARDIS. And Liv's like, what's going on? And Sally's like, don't move. And Liv's like, oh, shut up. Poof. And knocks Sally out, which was great.
Yeah. Liv's like, I've really had enough.
Yeah. And so now that the Doctor's letting the eminence inside him take a bit more control, he's having a bit of a spaz, and Liv drags him out just as the Master's TARDIS disappears, and the Doctor gets his version of the eminence under control. And with the eminence leaving this time period, all the synthetic eyes people are kind of, they're recovering and not possessy anymore, much to Molly's. I love how Molly's like, oh, this Rollington really has something going for it.
Yeah.
But, Molly, awesome. And so the Master's TARDIS is having a bit of a crash sort of time through the vortex, and the Master's like, no, don't go there, you're going to Nexus 7. And so it's like, why are we going there? Because the Doctor's totally told the Daleks to blow everything up there. And that's not good. And then, so basically the events that were left hanging at the end of the Traitor come to pass. So the Eminence was the whole thing that was the bigger force greater than the Daleks. So that ties into that. And that's all kaboom and lovely. And then, just as things are going wrong, Sally jettisons the Eminence and the Master's TARDIS into the vortex, and they narrowly escape going kaboom with everything else the Doctor sent their way. Lovely. Back in London, things are going all well and good. The Doctor's like, right, this whole future thing that you encountered, Liv, I'm going to go do that. You guys stay here. And that's all very well and good. So he toddles off, and that's all. And then closing theme music, bit of a dance to it. And then, so there's a knock at the door, and Molly goes to answer it, and there's Sally there, and Molly's like, oh, what's going on here then? And Sally's like, so I don't know what's going on. Can you just come out here? I think I got hit by a taxi in another story over here. Can you come and have a look? And Molly's like, I never noticed that red telephone box thing there before. And then Sally's like, maybe it just arrived. Wah! Drags her in, and the Master's like, oh, hello, Molly. How lovely to see you again. Dun, dun, dun. Cue next season.
Yeah. Just don't worry, guys. This is a cue for next season. All right, I'm gonna grab Harry and Skelly's thoughts and then come back for the Crow.
Yeah,
oh man,
song. That's all my thoughts are.
Oh man, I really want to listen to the War Master's theme song now for some reason.
Yeah.
And considering he's the next incarnation, or maybe the incarnation, 2 incarnations before Derek Jacobi. He's one of them in the new. He's the first incarnation in the new regeneration cycle. But anyway, Harry and Skelly, your thoughts on Eyes of the Master?
It was fantastic. I love the whole idea behind it. Basically, the idea that the Time Lords have figured out that they're about to have a time war, and have decided to do something about it is fantastic. And the fact that they've obviously brought the Master back is obviously ties in again to the Master being brought back into being Derek Jacobi. They're definitely setting up for the time war with this again continuously. It's really sad that Moffat goes and ruins that whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically it. This is fantastic lead up into that, and it just makes me more sad that it's not going to work for them basically. But it does mean that they continue to make 8th Doctor stories, so there you go.
There you go indeed. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the Late Crow?
No, I think that's about it.
Right.
Just listen to it. It's really good basically. Like the Dark Eyes box set, just all of them are fantastic. They're great. Just listen to them. Do it. What are you waiting for? Do it.
Do it. Just do it. I am the Alex McQueen Master. Just do it. The Late Crow, your thoughts on Eyes of the Master?
It was fantastic. It was a beautiful payoff to everything, because the rest of the season does really feel, even though they're all good, obviously, they all really feel like more set up towards what's happened in this story. And it was an amazing payoff, and I am extremely happy that I listened to it twice, because it was that good.
Right. Okay. That's the thing with Part B, is Big Finish worked their asses off, and it's hard to find something they didn't do right.
It's also very hard for them to do to have a production blunder.
Yeah.
Because it's all audio.
Because it's all audio.
You can't have bad CG in an audio. You can't have a bad art director. It's all story, and that's what they're best at. They do stories.
We love stories.
We love stories. Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, Gary Russell, support the podcast, please. You don't even own the company anymore. Just do it. I think Alex McQueen is an interesting master because, as Harry was saying, he feels like he's sort of like the goofball master.
Yeah, he absolutely does feel like a goofball.
Yeah,
it's really great.
But it works better than the Sim Master because the Sim Master felt like cartoony.
Yeah, it's like they were like, how can we make a Sim Master that's not bad? And they did it. We've just done it. Because that's basically what he is. He's coming into being the master. Like it's though he like hasn't fully got there yet. Like he doesn't know how he's meant to act yet. So he's a master that is just being silly all the time. And I feel like that really works against the 8th Doctor, considering 8 is being all serious, and generally the Doctor's not all serious. So it's a nice like role reversal for them. Yeah, I really like him as the master, especially against 8. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I
think
like
him against 7 would have been hilarious though.
He is against 7 in a story called Unit Dominion.
So
I need to listen to all of
actually, you need. It's the only unit story I've listened to actually, which is weird because I want to listen to Assembled, but I want to listen to all the unit first because Assembled has the classic Who cast come back.
That's beautiful.
Oh, so good. But yeah, so it's so funny. He turns up and he's like, "I'm future you," and Seven's like, "No, you're not." It's like, "No, please believe me." Seven's like, "Dude, no, you're Cat Eyes guy. How are you alive again?" So
like you said last week,
I've dressed for the
occasion.
Like I said last week, this new regenerative cycle is just him pretending to be the Doctor all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's just him pretending to be the Doctor all the time. There's actually, funnily enough, there's a comic where the War Doctor, actually bumps into the Master newly in his regeneration cycle, and he's a kid, and he's got heaps and heaps of hair, and he's like, he's just like, "Oh, I really like these long locks," and I'm like, "Oh, come on, guys." He's gonna lose it. I echo what everybody's saying. It's really good. It's interesting to have Sally come back and be the villain. She was sort of semi the villain-ish when she was in the last story, where she was like coming up with this anachronistic time technology. But again, that was because she was being sort of pushed into that direction by Coctrix. So it's really interesting. Sally's entire alternate reality and normal reality are being controlled by Time Lords. So
yeah, her entire life is just Time Lord controlled. Time Lord,
it's what a sad existence. She's like, "Yay! I now get to live my life the way I want to live it." And then the Master turns up and is like, "No, actually, the Time Lords want you back into the fray again."
Well, basically, the Time Lords are like, "We're just going to let you die occasionally." But then the Master's going to show up instead, and he's going to be like, "You will a baby."
Yeah. Now, here's the thing that I love about Eyes of the Master is Sally is supposed to die. She is fixed dead. But he saves her, which means Big Finish have been setting up the War Master getting ready for the Heavenly Paradigm this whole time.
Yeah, that he totally was ready for. He was totally preparing her to be in the Heavenly Paradigm. That he's been trying to get something for the Heavenly Paradigm for ages now.
Yeah.
Like even Ainley was trying to get something for the Paradigm. That's how far back this goes. Like,
it's so fantastic. He's like, "Oh." And then he goes, when he says to the Doctor, "Didn't you save somebody from a burning airship?" And the Doctor's like, "Don't you even go there, bro. Don't you even go there."
I don't even remember what happened to her.
Yeah. She left me in Singapore and then left Floyd's hut. Why you do this to me, Big Finish?
Oh my god. I've just seen something that is going to make my day. There's more Alex McQueen stuff. He faces off against 6 as well.
Yeah,
range story.
Yeah, we are. There's so much main range goodness, especially when what's his name comes back. Ping Pong Eyes Master comes back. What's his name? Burn Victim Master. Jeffrey Beavers. Yeah, he comes back and he's
the two
great.
Masters.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He tries to repair his body before he takes over. What's his name? Before he takes over Anthony Anley. And he tries to repair it. And Seven turns up and is like, "I know it doesn't work." And he's like, "Why'd you ruin my day? Why'd you do that?" He's like, "Oh, it doesn't work." And it's just like, "Aww. Even you, Master, will be a burn victim." So yes, it's fantastic. Big Finish has been doing a lot of setups and cleaning up of New Who that they really didn't have to go out of their way to do, but I'm so happy they did. Just listen to it. Dark Eyes, the entire run, I believe, is $20. I pre-ordered all of them, so it wasn't for me. Let me just tell you. So there's that. I've also pre-ordered all of Ravenous and the 8th Doctor: The Time War. And next week, do you know what comes out, guys? For my birthday, the First Doctor Adventures Volume 2 comes out. I am so excited. I am so excited. So that's going to be great. We're going to have to figure out how we handle that. Hashtag, should we just do an episode that's just their box set? Let's do that.
Can we do that? Because then we can put off Torchwood Series 2 longer.
Oh no, we have to do Torchwood Series 2! Oh, I hate you, the Late Crow. Why did you have to tell me facts? Why can't you just lie to me like American news networks?
Wait a minute. When are we doing that? Do we have to do that?
Yeah, that's next week. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. It's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Isn't that such a good story? Remember how good and well written that was? I'm clearly lying through my teeth. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is indeed next week's episode. Aren't you so excited? I'm excited. Yay!
Title alone pisses me off because it's ripping off a decent movie.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that, guys. We're going to jump into our last story for this week, and that is Red Dawn. It's good. So we'll catch you guys next week for no. So
every week you got to get that.
Yeah, I know. So NASA's sent out.
Contractually obliged.
Yeah, I actually am. NASA sends out a vessel to Mars that actually makes fun of the Ambassadors of Death? I think it's they do reference the Ambassadors of Death, where they're just like, oh, what about that Mars probe? And I'm like, oh, you guys referencing that story. That's awesome. So NASA sent out these people, and they're going off to Mars, and then Perry and Five turn up, and these two, like, I've got a lot of time for Perry. I think as a companion, she kind of like hit the ground running, which would have been hard because she was coming in as a doctor was going out. And that is something that is difficult for not only the character but for the actress as well. So I mean, Nicola Bryant really pulls it through, and she jumps back into Perry. Peter jumps back into Five, and we're in for a good time. They've landed on this place, and Perry's like, "This place is green and sucks." And he's like, "That might be the case, Perry, but let's look around." And she's like, "Oh, it's real chilly willy in the morning." And he's like, that is also accurate, but it's not my fault you're Perry, and we're dressed by clearly Jonathan Nathan Turner. And they're walking around, and Jonathan Nathan Turner's like, "I'm still amazing, even though I don't have anything to do with Big Finish, I clearly am amazing still." And then Five was like, "What's that? Did you hear Jonathan Nathan Turner?" Perry was like, "No, but I'm wearing him. I'm wearing Jonathan Nathan Turner. My shoes are Gucci though, just making this work." And so they're walking around and having a look at things, and Five's like, "Oh, this looks like a tomb. Oh, that's pretty cool." Then we go back to the NASA group. They've landed. There's this guy who's a bit of an asshole, and then there's these three other people. And the three other people I kind of liked. They had this commander guy who was like, "I'm a cool commander guy." And they had this cool commander lady, and they're like, "We're the two chief officers for this expedition." So they're like, "We're going to go, guys. Catch you later." They head off, and they go off to this pyramid, which I thought was great, because pyramids of Mars. I was just like, thank you guys. They go to this pyramid that's more like a master bar, because it's like a turtle shell-ish looking pyramid. They go inside, and Five's like, "Get back, Perry!" And the two commanding officers are like, "How the hell are you on Mars? How? Explain that." And the doctor's like, "Oh." And they don't.
We're just here.
We're just here, guys. And they're like, well, what the hell are you from, like, and it's great because, like, it reminds me sort of a little bit of, like, with Waters of Mars. Like, well, what are you doing here? Are you from, like, a rival company? But Five's just like, I was like, "Oh, we're just here." And I'm like, well, okay, whatever. We need to do this expedition. They go looking around, and they're
so good.
Yeah, and they're investigating the ruins. And the doctor's like, "Man, it's getting pretty warm in here." And I'm like, "Yeah, actually it is." The doctor's like, "Hang on, Mars, did you say?" "Yep." "And we're in a tomb." "Yep." "And it's getting warm." "Yep." "The ice is gonna melt." "Well, what's wrong with that?" "You're about to meet some very, very fun little new friends, my good sir." And so this Ice Lord and these like Ice Warriors wake up, and he's like, "What the hell?" This Ice Lord's like, "What are you dudes doing here?" And the doctor's like, "Hey, I'm the doctor." And he's like, "Oh, hey, are you the guy that opened the door?" "Yeah, yeah." "Oh, that must mean you're pure of heart." The doctor's like, "Oh, what?" So their tomb was designed to defrost if someone pure of heart opened the door. And it's great because, like, if any other doctor had done it, I don't think the door would have opened. Five,
I don't think it would have.
but like Five is like the doctor full of naivete, which is interesting because like
He's the Princess of Heart Doctor.
Yeah,
He's the nicest doctor.
Yeah, he's the nicest doctor, the Princess of Heart Doctor, except if you're in his way and he has a shrinking poison.
He would just throw it at you.
Yeah, he'll throw it, and then cover you with a helmet. That's my favorite. Is like he's like, "Kids can't see this dead body on screen, even though dead body's doing a Doctor Who heaps. Here you go, cover it with this." So Five's like, "Oh well, okay, cool." And he's like, "Well, I'm glad we're all awake. We're the ice. I'm an Ice Lord." And the doctor's like, "I know." Oh no, he doesn't say that actually, because the doctor says, "Oh, these are the Ice Warriors," and the Ice Lord's like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, Ice Warriors." And like, I suppose that's kind of a good name. So I'm wondering when these guys got frozen, when in their history they got frozen. Because the Doctor's like, you're not familiar. Interesting. But the Ice Lord, what I liked about them having an Ice Lord is they're so much easier to listen to than Ice Warriors. So I think that was really smart. Like, we're an audio show, we can't have the Ice Warriors just so what if we got an Ice Lord? Because then he only every like 15 minutes instead of every 15 breaths. Yeah. So he's like, hey guys, what's cool? They end up sending Perry off to the expedition craft with the other CO, and she's like, "Hey, this is Perry," and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And Perry's like, "I'm just sort of here, guys. Hey, what's good?" And the youngest part of their crew, who what's her name again? Was it Tanya? Tanya. So Tanya's like, "Hey, I'm really nice," and she's played by Georgia Moffat, who you might remember as the daughter of Peter Davison, or the wife of David Tennant. Or
the Doctor's daughter.
Or the Doctor's daughter. So that's really crazy. So Georgia Moffat, she's like, hey, and as like Crow pointed out earlier this week, it's pretty cool that her first like Who role is with her dad. I think that's really awesome. And she's like this like young naive person who seems to know a lot of stuff. And as the story progresses, we find out that her cousin, Paul Webster, is just a giant meathead, actually. He thinks he's like really intelligent, but he's not.
A giant douche nozzle.
Yeah, he's a meathead who thinks he's more intelligent than he ever has any right to think. And he's like, oh, hey, I'm taking control of the situation. Aliens are one of your technology and I won't take no for an answer. No. Okay then. I'm gonna blow up this temple, this tomb to your great king. And they're like, hello, we're going to find a way to kill you. It's not going to be a good way to kill you, but we're going to find a way. So they play the long game throughout the story, and the Doctor's trying to keep everybody cool, calm, and collected, but the whole time the Ice Lord's like, I'm trying to find an amicable way to kill that kid, because he's a douche nozzle. So there's a whole bunch of back and forward throughout the story that is actually really well played. It's fantastic. Unfortunately, the sub-commander, she dies, unfortunately, but it was an accident. She was going to open fire on them, and they're like, no. And they used what to their people would just be a stun. Unfortunately, we're not giant lizard people from Mars, so she straight up died. And they were like, that was really not our intention, bro. And the commanding officer Forbes kind of takes it pretty well. He was like, well, you did say you were just going to stun her. Unfortunately, it stunned her to death. I kind of see where you guys might not quite understand, because you went to sleep when we were still evolving, which was great. They talk about like, yeah, we saw apes that were starting to walk around. We thought, man, that's kind of cool. But then we went to bed because our planet was dying. Good times. You should have been there, Doctor. The Doctor was like, I was, actually.
I
was there.
It was a pretty good time.
It was a pretty good time. Ha ha, Tom Baker. And so they... the Ice Lord ends up becoming a prisoner of Douche Nozzle, and Douche Nozzle's like, haha, I've won. The Ice Lord's like, I like how you think that's the case, but I've been playing the long game, and I'm gonna sacrifice myself to kill you. And he's like, oh. So he sacrifices himself, and then the youngin dies, and it's great. And Five's like, I really didn't want it to end this way. And the Ice Warriors are like, he died a noble death, Doctor, so it's all good in the hood. Put it there. And the Doctor's like, you've got giant clamps for hands, but okay. And then Perry and the Doctor died off, and that's pretty much that. The Late Crow, your thoughts on Redawn?
It was beautiful. It really was. I have to mention the score right from the very outset is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
I was struggling to place why it sounded a little bit familiar, and then I thought, hold on, American NASA crew, Perry's American. It sounds like the score to the Doctor Who movie. There we go.
There we go.
Every time we're in the NASA crew, just that score is just very sort of
patriotic,
like 90s cinema of excess score style. It's great. So that's a fun time. When what's his face? The Ice Warrior that sacrifices himself. When he does that,
what was the Ice Lord's name? Commander Zal was the Ice Lord's name.
I cannot lie, I may or may not have actually cried when he did that.
Yeah, because he sees the dawn for the first time.
The red dawn. Yeah. It was just... Oh! And how he was... And they're all like, it's an honourable death. And I'm just like, oh no, stop saying that, I'm crying. Okay, I'm crying at work. Thank you, Big Finish. Thank you. But it was beautiful. I really did enjoy it. It was an amazing story, and just listen to it.
Yeah, I can echo that. It's literally 99 cents New Zealand, so that's probably nothing American.
And free on Spotify.
It is free on Spotify. So what are you waiting for? What you waiting for? Harriet Skelly, your thoughts on Red Dawn, and not my Gwen Stefani impression.
What you waiting for? Yeah, that's basically my yeah, that's what I think about it too. Just what are you waiting for? Just listen to it. Just do it. Do it already. Go on. It's really good. Five and Perry and Ice Warriors, and it's good. Just do it. So what are you waiting for? Just do it. It's so good. Seriously, it's good.
Yeah, it is hard to say otherwise. It is fantastic. I think one of my favorite behind the scenes thing is the fact that Gary Russell actually did one of the Ice Warriors, but it was Raspberry, so it was just the one that went, "Ksk, this is our commanding officer." So that was pretty cool. Executive producer Gary Russell just ksk, I'm an Ice Warrior now.
I'm an Ice Warrior, guys.
Yeah, it was fantastic that again that they had an Ice Lord, because I mean it is difficult to have an Ice Warrior be the lead in a story like this, so it had to be a Lord. I love the Lord's honor and his respect for the code, his respect for the Doctor and the commanding officer of the NASA vessel. You know, he didn't do. Oh, sorry, you first.
Yeah, I love the addition to the culture of the Ice Warriors. Just that the idea that the honor isn't all about war, because that's what everyone seems to kind of think they are, especially considering the name Ice Warriors. But it's just the fact that honor and respect is not all about the war part of it. It's also about other things, and they really do show that sometimes being honorable doesn't mean dying an honorable death. Sometimes it means sacrificing things, being trustworthy, all that sort of stuff, to the point where he's literally the guardian for one of the Ice Warriors or Ice Lords that had actually sacrificed his own life in an attempt to really show the rest of his race that they needed to leave. You know? That's a big part of their culture is that sort of honor, that he sacrificed himself to save his race effectively. And it's just that's the Ice Warriors, not just casual murderers, or
not just whatever they showed in Cold War. They are honorable people. It was interesting because Empress of Mars is written by the same dude, right? Mark Gatiss wrote both of those stories, right? Empress of Mars is another story that shines with, there is respect, there is honor amongst the Ice Warriors. So, and again, it's not just all about war. There needs to be some diplomacy. That's why the Ice Lords are revered, because they're able to do the not killing part of peace, you know. And it's fantastic to know that Big Finish were going at it with, you know, the Ice Warriors at this point in their society were peaceful, and war was the last resort. And it's fantastic because, again, as an Ice Lord, he still as the commanding officer takes responsibility for his men, but also for the lives of the civilians that are there. Because to him, even though Commander Forbes is probably a military officer as well as an astronaut, he still sees him as a civilian, and so he prioritizes their safety over his own life. And it's just, damn it, Late Crow! Now I'm crying. Just that's your fault, Late Crow. So and that's where that story leads is this complete understanding, and again, as you said, in addition to their culture that is wonderfully nuanced. Guys, again, this is free on Spotify, it's free on Google Play, so pick it up. It's amazing. It's the 8th episode in Main Range, and we'll see you guys next week for more Big Finish and, unfortunately, Torchwood. Hey, Big Finish, if you could just release the second box set for the first Doctor right now, that'd be great. Catch you later.
That would be great.